Hi guys, we're gonna try this again with a little bit different of a way to do it. So Dr. Brooke is gonna join in just a moment. So once she sees this Facebook Live and joins, we can add her in. So technology, huh? I've even got my own tech guy, and I still have issues with technology sometimes. See? Cutie tech guy right here.
Ridiculous.
Let me... So, I am waiting for Dr. Brooke. If you're on the live broadcast, you can make a comment, and then I should be able to add you in. Because I'm seeing that there's some people live, but I can't see who they are. So hopefully this will work. Hi!
And again, technology issues strike.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to try this. I don't know how to do this. Guys, we might just need to reschedule with Dr. Brooke. Unfortunately, I wish we've got to figure out our technology. It's like every other week we have issues, huh? Some weeks we're like right on it, no problem, and then days like today where it gets all hairy. I don't know what the issue is with our other.
It's not letting her join.
No.
Yeah, usually, so on Facebook Live, it's supposed to have an option to invite someone to broadcast with you, but it's not letting us broadcast with you, Brooke. And I don't know why. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
And then if I join, it's probably going to do the same thing. I can hear myself.
I don't even see that there.
Hang on, let me...
Oh,
wait,
there's Brooke. Oh, stop, come back.
There it goes.
All right.
We're adding. Requesting Brooke to add.
Adding. It's still...
Wow, that's close.
Hi!
Hi.
Oh my goodness. This has been a challenge today. Holy cow. Thanks, Brooke.
You're welcome.
So,
Thank you.
let's try this again. Let's start with Dr. Brooke. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Okay, let's go through this again. My name is Brooke Stillwell. I'm a chiropractor, and I've been a chiropractor since 2012. I am from Pennsylvania, just outside of Pittsburgh. Moved here with my family 6 years ago next month. And so I have practiced in Maryland. I have practiced in Pennsylvania, and I've been practicing here in the Westboro/Southboro area for the last, I think, 4 years.
Wow. Nice. And so you said you grew up, like your dad was a chiropractor, lots of other family were chiropractors. Like this is like, you were born into this, basically.
Right. Yeah, I was saying that a little of that before when we were first chatting. You asked how I got into chiropractic. I've basically always known I wanted to be a chiropractor. And so my dad is a chiropractor, and he is one of 7 kids. And so half of them were chiropractors too. I think I have 3 or 4 aunts and uncles, at least 2 cousins and my brother. And so I grew up in my dad's office. I have framed pictures here in the office of me, like drawing crayon pictures, adjusting. And I can remember adjusting my baby dolls when I was little. It's just always something that I've wanted to do. And so it's great. It's really exciting to be doing it.
You have 3 boys, right?
I have 3 little boys. Well, they're not so little anymore. My youngest is 8. My old, I can't believe I said little. Anthony would kill me. Anthony's my almost 15. He's
oh my
14.
goodness, that's crazy.
And then Andrew's my middle guy.
Or are they?
Are they what?
Do any of them want to be chiropractors too?
Not yet.
Yeah.
I'm very sad about that. In fact, like my oldest is at the age where he wants to do anything but what I'm doing. Right. But my little guy, actually, if you talk to my patients or people that come into Southborough Wellness, he's here quite often. He enjoys being here. He loves chatting with people. He loves watching me. So I'm holding out hope that maybe he's the guy. If for nothing else, he adores my father and he knows my father's a chiropractor, so that might lead him to that.
Yeah. Nice. So you mentioned Southborough Wellness. Tell us what that is.
So Southborough Wellness is a business we recently opened, my husband and I, just September of 2017. And it's kind of been a dream of mine for quite some time. My husband and I have talked about it off and on. And I've thought back and forth several times about doing things on my own as opposed to working with another chiropractor or doctor. And it just happened to be the right time, just purely based on my children. You know how it is when they're younger and they're at home. It's very tough to be out of the house. And so now that they're they're older and they're settled in school, it was easier for me to do that. My husband was sort of ready to start to help me out with the back office stuff. And so we opened again in September, and I've got kind of 2 businesses going on here. I've got Brooke Stillwell Chiropractic. I see my patients 3 days a week, but then Southborough Wellness is open 6 days a week. And that's kind of like a wellness / whole health store, a place where you can come to get educated, to find great products, to sort of support all aspects of your health.
Nice.
So it's great. I found myself for years in working with patients and people I talk to, talking about so many different products and things and ways to improve their health. And now it's really great to have it hands on.
Right.
And it's also great because, if chiropractic's not your thing, you can still really benefit from stopping by Southborough Wellness. You certainly don't have to be a patient to shop here or come by and look at our products or even pick my brain about things.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. So talk to me a little bit about, what do you have? You said you have all sorts of things, kind of like a natural health store. Like, what are some of the specific things that you have?
Yeah. So we have a kind of a wide variety of things. We have vitamins. We have a lot of herbal products. We have essential oils. We have salt lamps. We have non-toxic body products, chemical-free cosmetics, non-toxic candles. We have, we have a lot of other things. We have chocolates. We have a wide array of, chocolates. I know, you might think, how is that wellness related? But the store is really a reflection of myself, and chocolate is just one thing. Like, if I want something sweet, or I want something, to sort of, just something good, I don't want to say a reward, but you know what I'm saying? Something that's delicious. Chocolate's the thing, and it's got a lot of antioxidants. It's a great thing to enjoy. And we actually have a local woman that lives in Southborough that makes it. So that's great too. So that's another thing I should mention, because I'm trying to really support women in the community too here. So everybody that works here works local, and they have kids, in the school systems here, and they're on board, fully committed to wellness care too, which is really great. And then we're trying to carry a lot of products that are made locally, which is awesome too. So our chocolates are made by a woman in Southborough. We've got awesome jewelry here that can be personalized, bracelets that you can put your essential oils on to carry with them through the day. And those are all made by a woman that lives in Southborough too. And she actually works here, which is really cool. And then we have really pretty ice or heat packs, however you want to use them. Beautiful fabrics, and they've got, they're filled with flaxseed and lavender, and a local woman that lives in Southborough makes those for us. And so we're really trying to just incorporate kind of women supporting women and local small businesses supporting each other. That's kind of on a bigger scale even, but be above just helping people with their health and health and in encouraging people in the community to live better, it's also kind of got this air of let's support each other in doing that and support our businesses too.
Right. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
Really amazing. So, as you know, I work with a lot of pregnant women,
Yep.
given that I'm a newborn photographer, obviously. So, I know with my first, I didn't realize that chiropractic care was so important and could be so beneficial during pregnancy. Can you share a little bit about chiropractic care specifically when it relates to pregnancy, and what are some reasons you would want to see a chiropractor for? And
Sure, absolutely.
whatnot?
So that's a great question. So the first thing is, so there's a couple of different things, and we can talk specifically for pregnant women, but then we can also relate it to just everybody. So, but first, let's talk specifically for pregnant women. There's a technique called the Webster technique, which I am certified in, that's specific for pregnancy. And some people may have heard that technique as kind of the if the baby's breech or in a position that's not conducive for safe labor, it can help move the baby. Right. That technique is not actually for moving the baby. And in fact, we never even touch the baby in any way. There's no monitors. It's very, very gentle and nothing. We're not manually moving the baby or doing anything to even move the baby. Chiropractic care as a whole is really about facilitating and helping the body to work at its best so it can do what it knows how to do. And so to relate that back to the Webster technique and chiropractic care for specific for pregnancy, the Webster technique is really a specific analysis to look at the sacrum and the pelvis. The sacrum is the bone between your two hip bones, and to see if there's any rotation or misalignment there. And if there is, because there are ligaments that come off of the uterus itself and attach to the sacrum, it can cause torsion and tension on those ligaments, which can put some tension on the uterus and cause the baby to be in positions that aren't great for labor. And so when we use that technique to look specifically at the sacrum to see how it's rotated and then adjust it to get it in better alignment, we can often take some stress off the uterus, and then the baby has more room to move naturally or where it knows it needs to be, which is really, really cool, because I've seen that a bunch of times in my practice, and it's always awesome when somebody doesn't, need to go into a C-section. So that's number one. And regardless of whether your baby is breech or in a position, that's not necessarily conducive, again, for safe birth, it's still important to keep your pelvis and sacrum balanced throughout your pregnancy. It's important just to stop any type of issues with your mobility, any low back pain and issues like that, or pain, down your legs, whatever that might be. It's important for all of those things, but especially to keep tension off the uterus and keep the baby in a really good stress-free position. But then beyond that, anytime you work with the spine, you're affecting the nervous system, right? Because your entire spine surrounds and protects the nerves. And so if the spine, pelvis, whatever part of the spine is in some way out of alignment and it's irritating the nervous system in some way, now you've got a problem with the messages trying to come from the brain. So if I can take that back to pregnancy, the nerves that specifically come out of your sacrum go to the uterus, and it's how the brain talks to the uterus and tells it what it needs to do. And when a woman is in labor, the strongest muscle in the human body is a contracting uterus during labor. Wow. Which is awesome, I think.
Right.
And so knowing that it needs to contract like that, knowing that it's so strong and it's actually a muscle, it would only make sense, at least to me, that you want those lines of communication between the brain and the nerves going to the sacrum to be open and on full power, right? Right. So if it makes sense from chiropractically, I've got a misalignment somewhere in my neck, it's causing some pain in the muscle in my neck. Well, nerves go to the uterus and it's a muscle too. So you're not necessarily going to feel pain there. There's not pain sensors, but if the communication is a little dull in some way because there's a misalignment, then it can create issues. And so for me, and what I tell my pregnant patients that come in, it's all about keeping your nervous system and healthy, and as simply as I can put it, keeping the pathways between the brain and the rest of the body, whether it's the uterus or whatever part of the body it is, open and at 100%. So your brain can talk 100% to your body, and your body can talk back to your brain at 100%. Right. That makes sense? Yeah. That was a big mouthful.
Right. It makes sense to me, but I've also been going to chiropractic.
Yeah. So I don't know if you think I need to simplify that more, you have other questions, please feel free to ask.
Anybody watching, just feel free to type in the questions if you have them at any point. Um, wow. Yeah. So that's actually why I started to see a chiropractor, is that my baby was breech. And I was like, what can I do? So I like tried everything. And that's, I looked up who's certified in the Webster method. And it was amazing to me that it wasn't like he would feel like the ligaments. If I remember correctly, this was a while ago, it was 5 years ago. He would feel the ligaments and figure out like where do you need to, like, what needs to be adjusted and all that kind of stuff. And then after I had her, of course, I kept seeing him, like, because it's so important to have everything aligned correctly. And I figured out at that point that my uterus was probably tipped. Like, I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but that it probably, there wasn't space for the baby to flip because I was so misaligned previous to this. Like, it wasn't enough time to make the adjustments that we would need. I mean, it was like 36 weeks or 37 weeks or something. So there just wasn't time to realign myself.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and that's true, but in everybody's body's a little different and how they're going to respond and how long it's going to take. I've adjusted, I've had instances where I've adjusted women once or twice and they've had a breech baby that's turned. And then sometimes it takes longer than that. So it really depends. But the other key is with the Webster technique, and really any chiropractic care that I do, it's very, very gentle. And also often have pregnant women say, like, it doesn't really feel like you did much, because it doesn't take, especially with, pregnant women, a lot of force to do anything, because you've got your hormones circulating that are starting to loosen things up anyway to prep you for birth. And I wish I don't have the diagram on me, but there's a diagram that I actually use when a patient comes in who is pregnant to show them, because I love, for people that come into the office to really understand what's going on and feel really comfortable about it. But I have a diagram that shows the actual ligament that comes off of the back of the uterus and goes to the sacrum. And so when you see that, you can clearly understand how any rotation in that bone could put tension on that ligament. And the really interesting thing about the ligaments in the uterus, I believe, and I could be wrong about this, but if it's not the only, it's one of the very few ligaments in the human body that also has a muscle component. And that's important because if it has a muscle component, it can also contract and get tight, just like any muscle in your body. So it also responds to gentle stimulation, if that makes sense. Yeah. So you can, with the Webster technique, you can actually affect the ligaments themselves. And then also there's adjusting for the sacrum to make sure that it's in line and where it should be.
That's amazing. So for people that have not been to a chiropractor before, you always hear, people talk about, what's the term that they use? I'm so used to saying adjusted now. Oh, I get cracked or whatever. Yeah. It sounds awful. It sounds like it can be painful. It sounds just harsh, but that's not what talk to me about what it's like coming to you as a chiropractor, whether you're pregnant or not, like, what's that experience like?
An adjustment?
Yeah.
So an adjustment, for those of you who don't know, is kind of chiropractic speak for working on the spine. You first examine it to find areas of misalignments or subluxation, and then the adjustment is the treatment that we use to put the spine where it needs to be, or to remove the interference in the nervous system, right? And so there are so many different techniques and so many different ways of adjusting the spine. For me, I try to focus on the nervous system component as opposed to structural components. So we don't need to get into a lot of that, but the experience really, I do a lot of work. I look at leg lengths a lot. Often if the spine is out of place in some way, one leg will be shorter than the other. And then my adjustment style, for the most part, I use my hands, and it's very specific and usually as gentle as I can be, with being able to make the changes I need to. That makes sense. So in my opinion, always less is more. But we also want to get the patient feeling better. So I sort of start slow with the patient to see how they're going to respond and see what their body's going to do. And then we can add more as necessary down the road. But I find the most important thing is for whoever I'm working with, who's on my table at the time, to be as comfortable with what I'm doing and as relaxed as possible. So some people come into me and say, like, I'm like a nervous wreck. I don't want you doing a hard, I don't want you using a lot of force with your hands. I've had this experience, or whatever it is. And that's fine, because if you're laying on my table and you're stressed out, the adjustment's only going to do so much, in my opinion. And so there are ways to adjust the spine and work with the nervous system and do it very, very gently. And like I mentioned, a lot of my patients, specifically when I'm using the Webster technique, it almost in a sense to them seems like I'm not doing much, but it has a big impact. It's just that you don't have to necessarily do a lot of hard, aggressive force to get there.
Right.
Does that make sense? Did I answer your question?
Yes, I think so. I just want people to understand, like, it's not always you're not going to like jump up and down on their back and like,
no,
it's a very gentle experience. And
it is.
It's, like you said, a little goes a long way. And I think
Yes.
so I didn't understand that for so long until I was living here and started to see a chiropractor regularly.
Yeah.
And like really understanding that it's for overall health, it's for overall life. And although I started seeing him in pregnancy, which can be, like you said, it can make a huge impact. It didn't for me, but that's me. Like, that was my body, and everyone is so. Switching gears just a little bit. So you have this chiropractic practice. That's hard to say.
Yeah.
And you have this nutrition-y type store. Talk to me about, if I'm pregnant, which I'm not, by the way, if I'm pregnant and I'm looking for overall health things, what kind of things would you recommend for somebody who's expecting or who has small children at home?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, in my opinion, the best way to get your nutrients is always through your food, right? And not your supplements, which sounds crazy to say from somebody who carries supplements in her store. But it really is true. The more supplements that you can get, the more nutrition you can get from the food that you eat, the better off you're always going to be. So that's one, is to watch what you're eating. And in my opinion, in particular, the processed foods and the sugars, right? It's very important, especially in pregnancy, to eat as whole food and as healthy as possible. So that's number one. But, if you're looking for a couple go-tos for pregnancy, of course, some sort of a prenatal vitamin is important, or at least a multivitamin with folic acid in it. That's always step one, and calcium too. But beyond that, omega fatty acids are probably, in my mind, the most important when you're pregnant and nursing, and even with small children, because they're so important for brain development, nervous system development, and for the eyes. And so especially in the third trimester, an omega oil supplement, in particular omega-3, like the EPA and the DHAs, are super, super important. And they're really important to when you're nursing too. So they're super important through the pregnancy, and particularly third trimester, but also as you're nursing, and really important for little ones too. So so there's that. And then beyond that, I would say, especially in New England this time of year, vitamin D.
So there's vitamin. There's different kinds of vitamin D, like there's D2, D3.
D3, yeah, D3 is the most readily available, and I always say the best, again, just like eating the food is the best way to get the nutrient. Sunshine is the best way to get vitamin D, and it doesn't take a lot. I mean, 10 minutes in direct sunlight, and if you're fairer skin, you're going to get the vitamin D you need for the day, but you just can't have sunscreen all over the place. But the problem is, in New England, from like October till May, we don't get enough. And so just even if you're out in the sun, if you're a skier or you're a hiker, whatever it is that you do, that the sun's not positioned in the right place in the sky for us to get what we need. So vitamin D is so important for so many things. I mean, there's just, it's backbone for our hormones. It's important for mental and emotional health. It's important for cancer prevention. I mean, there's so many things. Bone health, I could go on and on. But so that's probably the other thing, that is the most important. Do pregnant women, but then there's other things. It depends. Those are kind of just general overall health. But, there's great things to support digestive issues during pregnancy, there's so many things that go along with that. But beyond
Right.
that, Rhiannon, beyond what you eat, beyond vitamins and supplements you take, the other thing that is often missed and just as important is the chemicals you're exposing yourself to. Because when you expose yourself to chemicals, you're exposing your baby. And so
Right.
there's chemicals in our food, but there's also chemicals on everything that comes in contact with our skin. And anything
Right.
that comes in contact with our skin goes directly into our bloodstream. That's why,
Right.
the nicotine patch works, because it goes right into our bloodstream. And
Right.
so we offer great products that I use or that I've tested or that my, people that work here use. We have firsthand experience with all of them
Yeah.
that are chemical and toxin free. So that's great too. And it's really
Right.
important. Especially, it's important at any stage of life, but especially when you're pregnant.
Right. Right. I've heard, and I don't know the exact statistic or whatever, but like that your skin, like we often think of all the organs in our body or whatever, but like we forget that our skin is an organ and it's the largest one we have. And
It
yet
is.
we think about like perfumes or shampoos or lotions or anything like that and like how they can affect us. So that's awesome. And you said you have a couple different types there?
Yeah, we offer, so I mentioned that we have non-toxic, we have a non-toxic makeup line that we love, who's made by a girl in Newburyport, Massachusetts. And then we have, and then we also have non-toxic candles, which might seem a little bit random, but I love candles, just for relaxation and sort of, the evening you're relaxing, reading a book, whatever you're doing. And candles are one of the things that are really, really highly toxic. They have phthalates in it. It's released into the air when you burn it, which is carcinogens. I think I might have said that wrong, fragrance. But anyway, there are carcinogens in candles that when you burn them, can cause problems because you're inhaling it.
Right, right.
So anyway, yeah, we have the beeswax candles that are free of chemicals.
Nice. That's amazing. Awesome. I know that you have a client coming in soon, so I don't want to take too much more of your time, but I do want to ask if anyone else watching this has any questions. Thanks for sticking with us, guys, by the way, through the technical difficulties. Sorry about that. Sorry for you too, Brooke. I apologize for all
No
the
worries.
problems
It's totally fine.
So tell us, as we're waiting to see if anyone has any questions,
Yep.
I believe I tagged your business in the
Yep.
description here. Is that the best way for people to get in touch with you? Find you on Facebook at Southborough Wellness or Brooke Stillwell Chiropractic?
Yes.
Yeah.
We have two websites. We have Southborough Wellness and we have Brooke Stillwell Chiropractic, but they both link to each other. So you could go to either and find the other. And then we have the Brooke Stillwell Chiropractic Facebook page, and we also have the Southborough Wellness Instagram and Southborough Wellness Facebook. So we really try to do a good job of communicating through social media, and we put a lot of, pictures of foods and recipes and supplements that are good for. There's just a lot going on social media. So that's a great way to reach us for sure.
Okay. And then before we end our time together too, you had mentioned you have a women's group. Is it a women's group, mom's group?
Yeah, something? A mom's wellness support group.
Yeah, talk to me about that.
It's great. It's such a great group of women. It's called Metro West Pathways Connect, and we meet. I think it's the fourth Monday of the month at the lunch hour. We have childcare provided. So, little kids are welcome to come. We've got a train table here at Southborough Wellness that the kids love, books, and toys, and stuff like that. But it's just a great chance for like-minded women, who are in the throes of raising their kids to get together and pick each other's brains. And it's really, it's a nice group of women. And we have, everything from people with babies to people like me who are, in the throes of raising teenagers. So I love it. I feel like, in my opinion, the more variety, the better, and the different ages, the better, because we can all kind of help each other. And I wish I had that support system when my kids were little, because I did so many things wrong. And I still do. I mean, none of us are perfect, but it's so nice to just know that there are other people out there that are asking questions that you're asking and, you know, looking for support. We go off of the magazine that's called the Pathways magazine, Pathways to Family Wellness. And so I provide that at no cost to anybody that's in the group. And we usually pick 1 or 2 articles from that magazine at each meeting to sort of discuss. But that said, it always ends up going, it takes a life of its own. You know, we kind of let it free throw. The only thing that I make sure that everyone knows at the start of every meeting that it's a judgment-free zone. So, you know, I'm really, really passionate about, you know, building each other up, especially as women, and not tearing each other down. Or, you know, we all don't have to believe the same things, but we should all at least respect each other's views and opinions. So, I try to keep it a really friendly place.
Nice. And how long have you?
Place. What's that?
How long have you guys been meeting together?
That's been going on outside of the office. I've run that group it's been at least 2 years. And then we've been going strong here at Southborough Wellness since we opened. And we also do occasional evening events. So in December, we did a candlelight yoga. And that was really fun. And we're starting to talk through, again, look at our Facebook and Instagram, because we're making some plans for another evening event. We might do a movie night and have a documentary, or we might do do it yourself, you know, healthy body products that we can make to something. We're putting something in the work. So you know, we do that too, because some moms work, so I don't want to exclude them, you know, so we try to offer some evening meetings too.
Is that something that you have to register for?
No,
or is it just not show up? Show up?
You don't have to register for it. If you want to get the magazine ahead of time, you certainly can. We have them at the office. That said, you do not have to have the magazine or have read anything to come. If anyone has questions about it, feel free to email me through my websites, or, you know, message me privately on Facebook, whatever. You know, I'm happy to answer any questions, but you can definitely just get on our website, see the schedule, and if you want to stop by, come by. We're always happy to have you. We provide coffee and tea. We just ask that you bring your own mug. So we don't have to have a lot of paper products.
Right. Nice. Brooke, this has been amazing. I had no idea that you offered so many awesome things, and I've known you for years, so this is awesome to make it. And I saw you had an event this weekend, and I was like, I wish I could go. So
it was really fun. We had a really fun women's event this weekend. We really, the thing that makes my job great, I think, is that I have such phenomenal women that are supporting me here, and they've got great ideas, and they're so on board, and they're just as excited as me about the end goal and helping people, you know, live their best life is kind of our tagline. But we have some really good events coming up and in the works. So definitely check out what we're doing, so you know what's going on.
Awesome.
And we welcome feedback. If there's something, you know, we tell everyone that comes in, if there's something you'd like to see us carry, or if you have an idea for something that we could do, you know, we're always open to suggestions and ideas. So
nice. I have one more question for you before we end our time together, in relationship to all of the products type things that you carry. You know, if you're local, obviously we can come in and talk to you, and like you've vetted out these products, but do you have any advice for people that aren't local, that are watching, that want to find good products that are safe for them, especially if they are pregnant or nursing? Like, how do they figure out what they can use and what's safe?
That's a really good question. I'm trying to think. The vitamin part of it, like prenatal vitamins, would be a little more tough, because the lines that I carry are specific to, like, you have to go through a healthcare provider to carry the products. But there are some lines, like, for instance, Nordic Naturals is a line that I love that we carry that I think has very clean, we talked about the oils, the omega-3s. Right. They have very clean products, and that would be a good go-to for any type of fish oil supplement that you wanted to do, or the EPA, DHA. They also carry a great vitamin D supplement, some great probiotics. So that would be a good place to start. I feel like in general, the more supplements that you can find that are whole food and not synthetic, the better. And then you just want to read your labels and make sure that there's no fillers or added colors. And I think that typically, when it comes to a vitamin or a supplement, you often pay for what you get. So to go to a big chain store and buy something that is very, very, very inexpensive, you're often going to just dump all of that into the toilet. I hate to say it that way, but they're not, a lot of those things are not readily absorbable, and you're not making good use of it anyway. So I would be really careful about where you get, where you choose to go, and read labels too is important.
Is there one or two things that you would say that you always want to try to avoid that you might not realize is something that's not good for you? Does that make sense, that question?
Yes, that is a really great question. I think you have to watch, you need to be careful if you're looking at products, for instance, body products. Be really careful when you see the word fragrance, because fragrance is often a way that you can hide a lot of chemicals under it that are often carcinogens. And I feel like I'm saying this wrong, so somebody may see this incorrectly, but I think it's the phthalates that can be hidden under the fragrance that are known carcinogens and can be problematic. So unless it's a fragrance from an essential oil, that's a big one, especially for pregnant women. That's one thing in particular that I would look for. And then, beyond that, let me think off the top of my head what would be important to stay away from. There's so many different things that you could look for.
This is a hard question.
That is off the, the sodium lauryl sulfates too, I guess, is a big one if you're looking at body products, the SLSs, and those are the things that create the foaming in products. Those can be really toxic as well.
Okay.
In your foods, in general, when you're looking at your foods, if you can't read it or you're not sure what it is, it's probably not a great thing to be using. And especially like the preservatives. And if you see red number, blah, 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 that's, that's an artificial coloring that's definitely can be toxic to your system. So those are the sort of simple things that you can start to be mindful of.
Okay. Nice. Awesome. Thank you so much. I wish I had all day to talk to you because I have so many questions, but
I could talk your ear off, so don't ask for that.
No, I would love it. I really would. For all of you people watching this now or in the future, if you do have any questions, reach out to Brooke. She's a great resource in the area, who has a lot of awesome things to offer. So please do that. And Brooke, thank you so much for today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Hours to talk, but
thank you for inviting me and thinking of me. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, you've been on my list for a long time. I'm sorry it took me so long to actually follow through with that. So
no worries. I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, really. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. And I know I'll see you soon, but I don't know about other people. Bye, Brooke.
Bye. Have a great day. Thank you.